Okay, everybody, this will be a documentary as promised on going over Dr. Rife. I understand that this is just the information presented in the article that is shown you on the website before you, and I will read it off as is. If anything comes out of context, if any information is misinterpreted in any way, shape, or form, and anybody knows about this, okay? Anybody knows this who's a fellow truth speaker or advocate of any kind, I want you to please leave a link in the description as to what it is, and but also explain it as you're leaving your link. With that said, let's get right into it. The life of Dr. Royal Rife. How was Dr. Royal Raymond Rife? Oh, no. That says who was Dr. Royal Raymond Rife? Royal Raymond Rife was born in 1888. He was a gifted scientist studying bacteriology at Johns Hopkins University of Heidelberg, and at his own laboratory, the University of Heidelberg awarded him an honorary doctorate degree. A brilliant and you know what? That's actually too far. Let me zoom in a bit. In an inquisitive man, Dr. Rife mastered many different scientific disciplines whenever he wanted to perform a new task. He simply invented the necessary instrument to do it. Today, in the fields of biochemistry, radiochemistry, optics, ballistics, electronics, and aviation, it is reported that some of his technologies are still used. Well-equipped laboratories. It is believed that Dr. Royal Rife had one of the best equipped laboratories of his time, where he designed technologies and built the machines that he needed his equipment. A million-volt X-ray machine, electronic test equipment, frequency instruments, glass blowing equipment, microscopes, drill press, mills, precision lathes, all the tools he could possibly have needed to make his instruments. A stop-motion microscope which he used to study the life of microorganisms from their creation to their death. And as a photograph of the guy, if you ever wonder what he looked like, it is reported that he had a room where he performed surgery on animals and pathology room equipped with all types of microscopes, including virus microscopes which he had designed and built himself to use in his research. His laboratories. Reports that Dr. Rife had his laboratories located in various states. His laboratories were the Rife Research Laboratory, the Point Loma Lab, the Rife Virus Microscope Institute, a microscope and dark room facility, 3 human research clinics. The first of these was under the oversight of a special medical research team at the University of Southern California, set up to observe the Rife technology used on people in the last stage of terminal cancer. There's an image of the microscope if you were wondering what it looked like. Now let's on to the next part of the article. Invisible. Hey, let me zoom out a bit there. A little bit more. There we go. Invisible microbes become visible. It is widely accepted that Royal R. Rife began to experiment with the effects of electric frequencies in viruses and bacteria in 1920. He learned how to make microbes which were invisible using any other technology to be visible. He eliminated each microbe's unique resonance frequency with the light frequency that matched it. They glowed when he did this. Electron microscopes were not useful in viewing viruses because the viruses are killed instantly. World's first virus microscope. The world's first microscope capable of viewing viruses was reportedly built by Royal Raymond Rife. He was thereby able to study these viruses in their living environment by 1933. He had built the universal microscope, and it was amazingly complex with nearly 6,000 parts. He claimed that this microscope could magnify objects up to 60,000 times, changing virus. Dr. Rife reported that he observed viruses being released from bacteria just as a chicken laying an egg, and he reported that a virus could change into another virus form and then back again to its original form. The change was dependent upon which medium it grew in, how diseases are produced in the body. Royal Rife went so far as to claim that any disease could be produced by the chemical constitutions of a virus enacting upon an unbalanced cell metabolism in the body. In his experience with animals, he said that he was able to produce all the symptoms of a disease without inoculating the virus of bacteria into the animal. The BX cancer virus. Dr. Rife is said to. Oh, hang on, give me a second. Just gotta make sure that I got my free. If you're wondering, I got my frequency playing. That's why I'm able to speak so fluently right now, or at least as best as I'm able to. And I have that playing on my throat because if you're not aware, a lot of TIs who do tend to talk, who are also going under the remote manipulation thing, yeah, they will do whatever they possibly can to mess with you, just to literally get you to, anything, okay, anything. They'll hit you with different type of energy links, anything like that. But that's not the main focus of this vid, so let's get right back into the article. It was so small it could pass through the finest filter available then. Today, it would not be called a virus based on the current standards. He was able to use this virus to produce cancer. Viruses and bacteria were destroyed, as Dr. Rife was observing the formerly invisible microbes by using the light frequency that matched their unique resonance frequency. He reported that he was actually able to destroy them. He explained that as he intensified the frequencies, they either burst or became inanimate. This method, using what he called the beam ray machine, he reported that he could selectively destroy these viruses and bacteria. He subjected them to a version of their own resonant frequency so intense that they burst. This process can be observed when an opera singer hits the right note at an intense enough frequency that a wine glass will shatter. The end to all diseases. Dr. Rife's amazing discoveries were not going unnoticed. It is reported that in November of 1931, Dr. Melbank Johnson, who was the director of the Southern California American Medical Association, honored Royal Rife at a banquet held at his estate in Pasadena, California. 44 of the U.S. most respected medical authorities attended. The banquet was called The End to All Diseases. Was cancer actually healed? It is reported that I really shouldn't say that. Now I'm getting that from an old friend of mine. She used to always say the name of the symbol that appeared at the end of a sentence. Don't know why, but it's kind of addictive. I'm going to try to not doing that, though. Anyway, it is reported that in 1934, the University of the Southern California appointed a special medical research committee made up of doctors and pathologists. They were to bring 16 terminally ill cancer patients in the last stage of their cancer from the Pasadena Country Hospital to Dr. Rife's laboratory in San Diego, where they were to be treated with the Rife technology. The committee was to examine them in 90 days if they were still alive. Amazingly, after 90 days, it was reported that the committee concluded that 14 of the patients had been completely cured. Treatment for the remaining 2 was adjusted and intensified. Within the next 4 weeks, it was reported that they were also declared cured. This is what I was saying, that when it comes to any of this stuff like herpes or HIV, that stuff was man-made. And using resonantial frequencies, you can actually cure that. That is the cure for that. But they don't want you to know that. By using the resonances, you can literally kill this stuff off at the cellular level, therefore curing yourself of what you've been infected with. I hope people are listening because that's how you cure that stuff. But they won't tell you that. Okay, looks like that's the end of the article. It says find out more about Royal Rife. I guess I can click on that. Let's go and see what this is taking me into. I guess that's him at a younger age. Royal Rife, May 16, 1888, August 5th, 1971, was an American inventor and early exponent of high magnification time-lapse cinematography. He is best known for a claimed beam ray invented during the 1930s, which he thought could treat some diseases through vibration. Years after his death, it was manufactured and sold in several countries as a cure for cancer, AIDS, and other conditions. Many patients died, and multiple promoters were convicted of health fraud and sent to prison. I think that was a setup at that point because they need constant deaths for control. If people just started being cured of several different things, well, it's pretty obvious that that's gonna put their whole goal in void. Let's see what this little reliable published information exists describing Rife's life and work in the 1930s. He made several optical compound microscopes and using a movie camera took time-lapse microscopy microscopy movies of microbes. He also built microscopes that included polarizers. I hope I pronounced that right. Rife also reported that a beam ray device of his invention could destroy the pathogens Rife claimed to have documented a mortal oscillatory rate for various pathogenic organisms to be able to destroy organisms by vibrating them at this particular rate. According to San Diego Evening Tribune in 1938, Rife stopped short of claiming that he could cure cancer, but did argue that he could devitalize the diseased organisms in living tissue with certain exceptions. In a 1931 profile, Rife warned against medical fakers who claimed to cure disease using electrical vibrations, stating that his work did not uphold such claims. Ah, okay. It's strange though. Right? Okay, if that's what he's saying, I don't know. Hmm. It's very, I guess it's very complex then. With if those are his actual words, then I guess, but I don't know, man, because going back to Nikola Tesla and his situation, the guy's technology was stolen and he was killed. He was killed. He was murdered. So it's also pretty. I'm pretty certain some similar things were happening with Rife too, and he must have been threatened to not really go as far with his technology as what he could have went. Hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, but then again, you never know. There's a lot of corruption out there, a lot of a lot of misinterpretation of information going on, a lot of censorship going on, especially now. So I don't know. That's like an if and or situation there. Let's continue on though. Rife's claims about his beam ray could not be independently replicated and were discredited by independent researchers during the 1950s. An obituary in the Daily California described his death at the age of 83 on August 5th, 1971, stating that he died penniless and embedded by the failure of his devices to garner scientific acceptance. Rife blamed the scientists' rejection of his claims on a conspiracy involving the American Medical Association, AMA. Now, here's the thing. For all TIs out there, you already know who I'm going to be talking about when I mention this. It was a perp that showed up on the comma extension last time I was talking about anything dealing with Rife, and this was on the Guide channel, right? Now he's telling me, oh, well, like he died in this date. I'm not gonna say what date it was that he mentioned, but it wasn't no 1971 from his claim. It was 19 something, but not 71. So I really find that very odd, you know? I could say the date, but the reason why I'm not going to say anything because I'm not 100% certain yet. All I will say is that I know that my family, they had involvement with people who really did like make big changes. Seriously. Part of my family is responsible for the creation, literally the invention of the inner tube, which is in your car's tires right now. Um, as any way farther than that, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's well stated that there's definitely a lot of corruption out there. But I'm basically trying to look back to see if I could connect the dots, because I know like everybody has a family, and their families are coming from somewhere in many different parts of the globe. You never know who your family is connected to. You never know who any of these old entrepreneurs, any of these old inventors, any of these old industrialists who literally was creating things, many different things that made a huge difference even to today. You never know if they are in your bloodline in your family. You would never know. Let's continue. The Department of Public Health and other elements of organized medicine, which is AMA, which had brainwashed and intimidated his colleagues. Brainwash, which had brainwashed and intimidated his colleagues. Remember what I was saying? How like there had to been something going on there in between things. I think he was being threatened, and as a result, they threatened him, but then they went after his colleagues and stuff like that. The fact that that's even mentioned, that's enough for you to understand. When someone is actually saying something that could go against their own technology, it's either they're being threatened or they're giving out a warning. So that's basically what I'm looking at from here. Either he was being threatened into saying, no, it can't be used to go that far, and it can, but they don't want it to, or they're threatening him to basically they're trying to use it for ill like purposes. Now, when it comes to us targeting individuals, we're being hit with a lot of frequency based weapons, right? We're being hit with a lot of frequency based weapons. The way Rife's machine worked was kind of off of resonantial frequencies. Same thing. So people need to understand that a lot of the stuff being used today, there were small parts of implications to things they were invented in the past. They were all brought together and constructed in a way for biological terrorism and as well as communist terrorism as well. And that's pretty much what we're dealing with today. That's why they want the 5G around, so they can beam this stuff on you, do to you, as they have done to target individuals for years. Let's continue. Interest in Rife's claims was revived in some alternative medical circles by the 1987 book by Barry Lyons, The Cancer Cure That Worked, which claimed that Rife had succeeded in curing cancer, but that his work was suppressed by a powerful conspiracy headed by the American Medical Association. After this book publication, a variety of devices bearing Rife's name were marked as cures for diverse diseases such as cancer and AIDS, and analysts by Electronic Australia found that a typical Rife device consisted of a 9-volt battery, wiring a switch, a timer, two short links of copper tubing, which delivered an almost undetectable current like penetrate this. You see, I hope all the target individuals see this. I hope they see this, because this is the kind of shit we've been dealing with for years. Again, undetectable current like penetrating the skin. That's exactly how some of these weapon-based frequencies are working. That's exactly how they're working. They're using technology created from people in the past, but they're using it for terrorism. They turned it into a weapon. Let's continue. Such Rife devices have figured prominently in several cases of health fraud in the U.S., typical centered around the uselessness of the device and grandiose claims with which they are marked. In a 1996 case, the markers of a Rife device claiming to cure numerous diseases. Also, did you know they're starting to outlaw that stuff now? Meaning, I think like an actual Rife machine, I think a guy went to jail just for owning one. The actual machine that does this stuff. And I'm not talking about like just an ordinary rifle machine. I'm talking about like the industrial one, the one that Dr. Rife was messing around with, the one that he was making. There are certain ones that they have outlawed, and honestly, these things are really helpful to a lot of health, man. They could literally solve a lot of problems, but that's why they don't want you to have them. Same thing why they're outlawing the cocoa plant. I mean, sure, crack cocaine may be an abstract from that, but you want to know something? I believe that they intentionally created that shit just to come up with a way to outlaw it. Now, the drug part is the negative part from this plant, but they're not. You will every time someone brings that up, you will never hear them talk about the benefits of the beneficial effects of the actual plant itself. You will never hear anything about that. I want you to look up the benefits of the cocoa plant, the leaves, just the leaves themselves, right? I want you to look that up to see all the benefits that come from that, and so you understand as to why they went so far as to have it outlawed. Let's continue. Rife devices claiming to cure numerous diseases, including cancer and AIDS, were convicted of felony health fraud. The sentencing judge described them as targeting the most vulnerable people, including those suffering from terminal diseases, and providing false hope. In some cases, cancer patients who ceased chemotherapy and instead used these devices have died. Rife devices are currently classified as a subset of radionics devices, which are generally viewed as presumptive medicine by mainstream experts. In Australia, the use of Rife machines has been blamed for the deaths of cancer patients who might have been cured with conventional therapy. In 2002, John Brian Kruger, who operated the Royal Rife Research Society, was sentenced to 12 years in prison for his role in a murder, and also received a concurrent 30-month sentence for illegally selling Rife devices in 2009. Remember how I was telling you how they were outlawing the Rife? That's how they do. They will take some shit, they will fuck with it, create a problem, and they'll bring out the solution to get rid of the problem. It's not the problem for you, it's the problem for them. That's how it works. They'll take something and create a problem with it, and then they'll bring forth the solution. The same asshole who's bringing you the problem to your doorstep is the same asshole who's offering you a falsified solution of a way out that's really a way in imprisonment, basically. You're just literally just locking yourself more and more into their entrapment bullshit. With each time you accept a handout, with each time you accept all these things that they're giving to you, all of this stuff is nothing more than an attempt to entrap you, ensnare you to where once you are too far in, you're not going to be able to get back out. You're going to have to fight your way back out. People who are too dumbed down don't understand this. Let's continue. In 2000, convicted James False with 26 felony counts, false Rife device sold in Naturetronics, Pulse, Austro Pulse Bio Solutions, Energy Wellness, and Global Wellness. In 1994, the American Cancer Society reported that Rife machines were being sold in a pyramid-like multi-level marketing scheme. A key component in the marketing of Rife devices had been the claim initially put forward by Rife himself that the devices were being suppressed by an establishment conspiracy against cancer cures. The ASC described Lyon's claims as implausible, noting that the book was written in a style typical of the conspiratorial theorists that and define any independent verifications, although Rife devices are not registered by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and have been linked to deaths among cancer sufferers this year. Remember, the Food and Drug Administration, same assholes who are allowing GMO in your food, the same assholes who are allowing high fructose corn syrup in your food, the same assholes who are allowing, still are allowing freaking canola oil, which has been found to have one of the major causes of high induced heart attacks. The same assholes who are allowing that stuff in your food. And if you ever have eaten Doritos, don't eat that again. Don't. If you don't know what they've been putting in that, there's bat shit on that. You want to find out? I'm not even going to tell you what the ingredient is. I'll let you look it up for yourself. But when I say that you need to be very mindful of the food that you eat, I am not kidding around. When I've seen my gang stalkers and the food they've eaten, all I'm seeing is idiots just poisoning themselves. It's an exact definition of how dumbed down they are. You see, they'll laugh at me, right? They'll say all kinds of idiotic stuff at me. But but when I look at them and I see what they're doing, right? I see who the real idiot is. But don't see that as me as trying to use a negative term here. No. What I'm saying is they always have the option to wake up. You always have the choice to not be an idiot. It's when you choose to poison yourself and choose to follow the oppressor who is feeding you all of this stuff to ensnare you and entrap you, is when you play yourself for a fool. So would I be bothered by someone who's doing that, laughing at me? Of course not. Would I be anywhere near bothered by anything they have to say? No. Because I know the truth. I know the truth. So many of you also know it as well. Let's continue. I guess that's it. Okay, I guess that's about it. Anyway, that's my video playthrough on DR Royal Rife. Hope you enjoyed it. I will leave a link in the description so you can check this out for yourself. Stay safe. Stay strong, everybody.